Good morning, and thank you for being here. It's very exciting. I'm competing with Ethan Russo right now, and I really appreciate you all being here because he's over there and you're not. Thank you. Right? I mean, he's he's one of the big guys, so I appreciate you being here. So as you know, I'm Rhea Graham. I started and own and operate Albany's Canna Kitchen and Research in Albany, Oregon. And today I'm going to speak about cannabis as medicine. We're not going to talk much about the endocannabinoid system because everyone has pretty much covered it yesterday and today. If you want to know more, I'd be happy to talk about it. But we'll touch briefly on homeostasis, decarboxylation, terpenes, smokeless cannabis remedies, microdosing, pharmaceuticals, and relief without being high. That's very popular for many patients. I am not a doctor. I am a medicine woman. I will not give you any medical advice at all, I promise that, but I'll give you some good hints and clues. I've studied cannabis day and night since 2010. My daughter's all grown up and moved away, and I'm a widow, so cannabis gets my time, and I like that. I love what I do, as a matter of fact. Cannabis can replace pretty much all of the pharmaceuticals. That's a new word for today. They're pharmaceuticals. They're not pharmaceuticals, right? Like cannabis, I've never killed a patient. Okay. So what is cannabis? We know there's THC and CBD and CBN and CBG and lots of stuff in there. There's 113 identified cannabinoids at this point, was the latest research I found. It smells skunky and fruity and woodsy. What's that about? That's the terpenes and the flavonoids, so there's a lot to this plant. According to the NIDA, there's more than 500 different things that make up the cannabis plant. There's varieties, sativa, indica, and hybrids. You've heard about that. Ruderalis is what hybrids are made of, typically. Most people, if they use sativa, they will be very active. They want to scrub the walls. You get a head high off sativa. It'll bring you some focus, and it can oftentimes make you a little bit paranoid, and that's no fun. Unless, of course, it doesn't have those terpenes in it, because terpenes drive the high. Or if you're bipolar, or have an opposites reaction. People who take sativa who are bipolar will get sleepy. It's very interesting. And then there's indica, which is said to make you relaxed and give you some pain relief and healing and give you couch lock. And again, unless it doesn't have those terpenes or you're bipolar. So, Ruderalis is used for breeding. They're typically a three-leafed plant. They're kind of funny looking. And they're an autoflower, which means that no matter what the light cycle is doing, they're going to go into flower and make you some bud. Hybrids are the mix of the indica and sativa with ruderalis or just each other. They can be sativa or indica dominant, or even THC or CBD dominant as well. They can be used day or night, depending, and they are sometimes balanced. Blue Dream is an example of a hybrid, which is very well loved by most all patients. You can use a little bit during the day and still function, and use more at night and go to sleep. The endogenous cannabinoid system. Yeah, it's crazy. Endocannabinoid system, ECS, it's all the same thing. We are made to use cannabis. We have receptors over every inch of our skin on all of our organs then, including the largest one, our skin. It's in charge of all of our regulatory systems, which is the most exciting thing about it. It is the boss of your body. Your circulation, your nervous system, lymphatic, endocrine, digestive, skeletal, all of them. Muscular, respiratory, urinary, reproductive, even your hair and nails. So what does it do? It brings our body to perfect balance. It'll regulate your weight, your sleep, your pain, literally every function to bring your body to balance. If you weigh too much, you can take cannabis oil at night. It will get rid of that weight. You will literally sleep off 75 pounds. I've had at least a dozen patients do it. I know it sounds crazy, but it's the absolute truth. So there's additionally new research being done that the endocannabinoid system is possibly the think it into being system. And I fully believe that 100%. I oftentimes will be thinking about a patient that I really need to come see me because I need to tell them something or find something out, and I'll think, and they'll come driving in, and I'm like, wow, cool. And they'll say, well, I was over at the gas station. I just had a burning desire to come see you. I'll say, it worked again. It's the absolute truth, time and time again. So use it. And when you think of someone that you don't want to see, you block that. Really, it works. Okay? Decarboxylation is another thing we're going to talk about. That's where, so THC starts as CBG, and it turns into THCA, and then when you decarboxylate, you remove that oxygen carboxyl, the A, and it turns into THC, which means it's activated THC, and it can then get your body high. And from there, it degrades into CBN with more time and temperature. So if you don't want to get high, you don't activate your THC. So time and temperature is a big thing, and other cannabinoids have the same similar actions. They lose their oxygen carboxyl and convert. So again, if the THC is not activated, you don't get high. Some conditions do need the THC to be activated, but many don't. And it can be activated to different degrees. Ed Rosenthal once said, if THC is the engine, terpenes are the steering wheel. So terpenes control your high. It's just crazy. It's not just THC, it's not just CBD, it's them. They shape and control the high of THC to provide aroma and flavor. They can make you focused, energetic, sedated, unstressed, couch-locked, alert, happy, and much more. So how do we use cannabis? If you were nursed, your first use was with the breast milk. How cool is that? It's got cannabinoids in it from your mother's endocannabinoid system. I had a patient who nursed her baby and used cannabis, and we tested the breast milk because we wanted to know what was in it. And all they could find was metabolites of CBN. So the baby was sleeping good because it's getting CBN, right? But it's very important to know what you're getting, right? Cannabis can also be smoked or vaped. And, of course, there are wonderful smokeless cannabis remedies, which is my specialty. So some examples of smokeless remedies. I just learned that I have this cool monitor here. I don't have to turn around and look. Sorry, I'm just, whoa. Would be concentrates, capsules or suppositories, elixir or tinctures. So elixir is glycerin-based and tincture is alcohol-based. Okay, so I never use tinctures because I'm an alcoholic and I don't want alcohol. Topicals are just what they sound like, applied topically. Liniment is alcohol-based, amazing. You can make face wash, shampoo, deodorant, all kinds of personal care products, as well as cooking oils. They're all smokeless cannabis remedies to use anywhere. Dosing is a tough one, but microdosing is an incredible way to use cannabis. Microdosing means you take it many times a day, like 5 times a day is a great one. You can also just dose 2 or 3 times a day and do well. It's a math thing, but it's easy, and we'll go into that more. Microdosing is 1 to 5 milligrams, perhaps. Low to medium, maybe 6 to 15, and up around 50 would be a high dose. So people think that cannabis as medicine is expensive. And it can be if you're going to the dispensary, perhaps. It really can be. And especially if you're trying to buy smokeless. For whatever reason, they just jack the price of that stuff, okay? But if you went and bought a gram of, say, 80% THC cannabis oil, buy a full spectrum, of course, but you would pay about $40 for that with a medical card in a dispensary. If you took that gram of oil and made it into 200 capsules so that you could microdose with it, they'd cost you 20 cents a piece and it would last you a month. So that's nothing, really. If you only made 10 capsules, it'd be 80 milligrams a piece. You'd be like all kinds of stoned, and I know you don't want that, but they'd only cost you $4 a piece, and those would cost you more than $10 a piece at the dispensary. So truly, it's well worth your time to learn about microdosing and making your own. If you don't want to get high, again, microdose, and don't decarboxylate it, and you can make fruit smoothies and tea with fresh leaf. It is amazing the relief you can get by just putting, say, a tablespoon of ground up dry leaf into a fruit smoothie in the morning and hitting that with your blender. Or if you use fresh leaf, take about 10 leaves and just pick the stem off because the stem can upset your stomach. It's got barbs in it. So you just run that in your smoothie. I put a cup of fruit, some almond milk, a teaspoon of diatomaceous earth, and some yogurt. Drink it down. It'll get rid of muscle spasms. Some seizures are controlled using this, but what many patients, my Parkinson's patients, get the most benefit out of those fruit smoothies. I have one patient who has a fruit smoothie every other day and has no more Parkinson's shakes and tremors. It's amazing. You can make tea the same way, except you're just boiling it in water. and boil it about 10 minutes. It's very refreshing. If you don't put any fat with it, you won't get the high, but just total relaxation. It's very enjoyable. Cannabis suppositories are the up-and-coming, most popular way to use cannabis. You cannot imagine how many people I've got to tell to stick it. And it's always insert the round in. It's much more comfortable. They're amazing. They are simply amazing. They don't induce a bowel movement because they're made with cocoa butter. You don't get the high if you just insert it right inside the back door. And then it absorbs through the anal canal walls. It goes straight up the spinal column. The relief for back pain is just practically instantaneous and amazing. Low back, high back, it doesn't matter. Headaches are often treated very well with cannabis suppositories. If you're after a high, poke it higher. It'll get you high, okay? So, they are simply amazing. Another way that you can use cannabis and not get high is the peyote method. That's been used forever in India with different essential oils, but it's getting very popular now with cannabis use. Some people will just put a little bit of concentrate in their belly button, and I haven't had any success with that. But if you'll mix it with a carrier oil and warm them together, or some DMSO or alcohol, and put that in your belly button, trust me, you'll have an effect. There are 5 conditions that you really want to microdose for, because if you don't microdose, it will induce them. And that would be pain, anxiety, insomnia, depression, and heart conditions. So too much THC brings on pain. And it makes you anxious, and it keeps you awake at night, and it'll make you depressed. And your heart will go brrr. That tachycardia is no fun. But you can calm yourself down. Just breathe, and you can calm yourself. The cool thing about smoking pot is that it makes you forget that you have pain, or it makes you not care that you have pain. So it's quick, right? But it's not popular anymore, and just not socially acceptable very many places. So that's why Smokeless is so good. And I mentioned lung cancer up here. And why is that there? Because if you have lung cancer, you should probably be vaping cannabis as one way to get to it, because the cannabis oil is going right on those lung tumors would be a great thing. But you really want to hit it from other methods, like suppositories are great for treating lung cancer. And you also want to take it orally. We like to use cannabis for the health of it, right? Because of the many side effects of pharmaceuticals, mostly the death and destruction, right? Pain pills, cancer treatments, benzos, antidepressants, they all have death as a potential side effect. How can that be medicine? That's poison. Pain pills stop your ability to have a natural bowel movement, and with all that backed up in you, all those toxins are leaching out into your system and making you very sick. Cancer treatments, if you read the side effects of chemo and radiation, is cancer. How is that medicine? That's just insane that people are poisoned to death all year, every year, when the side effect is clearly listed, secondary cancers. Right? And then there's benzos. Benzos are supposed to be used for a very short time. I was put on benzos when my husband committed suicide 21 years ago, and I was on them about a week. And I talked to my doctor after another big event in my life and asked about antidepressants, and that was 30-some years ago. And he said, Rhea, you can deal with what you're going through now, or you can take pills and deal with it when you come off of them. And I think you're going to be better off if you'll just deal with it now. And so I was blessed, and I never went on them, right? But many people didn't get that same advice because someone was making money off them taking pills. And I encourage you to get off any pharmaceuticals that you are on. You can't die from an overdose of cannabis, as everyone has said, but we just want to say it every time we're here because it's true. And the reason you can't is because we don't have enough receptors on our brainstem to shut down our heart or our breathing. So how do you replace your pharmaceuticals? With smokeless cannabis remedies. Capsules can be made any strength, any combination, anything to treat anything, literally. And if you can't swallow capsules, you can stick it. Sorry. Should I try it again? No. Suppositories, as we know, are amazing. They'll treat anything, but cancer is especially well treated with it because it dumps it into your bloodstream. It sincerely helps. Tinctures and elixirs are fast acting. You just put your dropper or droppers full in the buckle of your mouth over where the dentist shoots those shots that hurt so bad. Hold it in your mouth for as long as you can and then swallow. One reason it works so well and so fast is because the stomach acids aren't working on it. You're ingesting it right through the mucous membranes. Salve is one of my favorite topicals. You can apply it anywhere it hurts, literally. I make all my products with food grade only and the best you can get, all organic, unprocessed, etc. So if you have a toothache, you can put salve in your mouth and it helps immensely. You can also treat toothaches from the outside and it works well. Liniment is probably by far my favorite smokeless cannabis remedy because it is so versatile. It gets rid of pain and swelling. Here it comes. It kills the herpes virus. Cannabis kills the herpes virus. Make a liniment, put it on, and it will go back and kill the herpes virus. Dr. Grinspoon has put that information out years ago. It's fascinating. It works. If you feel a cold sore coming on, you put the liniment on it. If it does come on, it'll only last a day or two, and you do it, just keep doing it, and it'll be gone. The herpes zoster, which is shingles, same thing. We had a patient who was in the hospital. He had shingles so bad, and they were on his face, and the doctor was scared to death he was going to go in his eye and blind him. And his sister came and got some liniment and salve, and it was gone just in like 2 days. His doctor was just dumbfounded. Massage oil is much like salve without the wax, so it doesn't have that barrier, so it's really amazing. It can be used as a personal lube also. Women, you can fail a UA if it's used that way, if that's a concern to you. And then there's cannabis concentrates, which is when you take cannabis flower and concentrate it into concentrate. Some call it Rick Simpson oil. I call it cannabis oil because it's cannabis oil concentrate. From an ounce of cannabis, you get between 4 to 6 grams of cannabis oil. So from 28 down to 4 to 6. It's not much, and that's why concentrates cost more. I believe very fully in whole plant medicine. The root, the stem, the leaf, flowers, and seeds, they all have great benefit. I have Parkinson's patients on root capsules that has just changed their life. I have a cousin who has Parkinson's so bad, like literally food spilling, plate spilling Parkinson's. She shakes that bad. This summer at family reunion, I said, here, you've got to try 2 of these. Take it with your food and let me know how you feel. So then I set my timer and she took them. 8 minutes later, she held her hand out and it was steady. It was the best thing I've seen ever. Her husband is a doctor and very anti-cannabis. Winning, right? Thank you. Thank you. So the stem makes an incredible elixir for anything lung and sinus. I've gotten myself and many other people off albuterol inhalers because it simply works. The leaf makes great smoothies. It makes great salves and all kinds of stuff. You can make tea with it. You can make anything out of the leaf. The flower obviously makes stronger medicine. And then the seeds, hemp seeds most especially, are crushed to make hemp seed oil, and they're shelled to make hemp hearts. Wouldn't you hate that job? Oh, sorry. So some random information. I'm down to just over a minute. I want you to watch Hemp for Victory on YouTube if you haven't, and tell everyone you know. It's a 10-minute video that our government put out in 1942 wanting to get all the farmers to grow hemp for the war effort. Right after World War II, then they put it right back to no-no status. So they denied that that film was even in existence, and Jack Hare found it in the Library of Congress, so watch it, please. Run from the Cure is another video you could watch. Use food-grade materials only, though, when you make medicine, okay? Rick Simpson tends to use some other things, right? You cannot poison yourself well, all right? Chemoradiation, I'm just not buying that. But you can poison yourself to death. When you start using cannabis, your blood work will be up the middle when you go to the doctor. They will be so impressed and ask you why. CBD is a natural antidote to THC. This is so important that everyone knows this. When you get too high, then you take CBD, a large dose of it to counteract that. I will not admit that I had to do that last night. I ate 100 milligram chocolate and should not have. Right? I'm like, what am I thinking? So I had an AC/DC pen and I hit that hard and well, and look at me, here I am today. So Cannabis is non-addictive, and you cannot spell healthcare without THC. Woohoo! Thank you very much for being here. I sincerely appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. We're getting a new website. Right now it's cannakitchenandresearch.com, but it will soon be the ACKR.com. And if you would like to check out testimonials, they're there. Thank you. Thank you, thank you.